Heidrea for Heroes strives each day to give back to our deserving military veterans by assisting them through challenges and transitions in civilian life. A registered nonprofit organization based in Plymouth, we provide support services to veterans who need a helping hand from throughout southeastern Massachusetts. We offer a range of services, including adaptive home renovations, vehicle modifications, specialized mobility equipment, qualified home repairs, and custom veteran and family support. If you or someone you know is a veteran in need of assistance, please contact us to fill out an application. We also offer workforce readiness programs for veterans, including a Success Readiness series, which features seminars and webinars on job seeking and life skills, as well as Incline Corps, a unique monthly fitness program exclusively for veterans. To learn more about Heidrea for Heroes or our programs, to watch a webinar, or to make a donation to support our work, please visit our website at www.heidreaforheroes.org. That's HEIDREA, the number 4, HEROES.org. Our veterans sacrificed a great deal to serve our country. It is our great honor to give back by lending a helping hand.
Well, thank you so much for having me this morning. So I'm with the Office of Consumer Affairs and Business Regulation, and my office is downtown Boston. And I give, as we mentioned, I give a lot of presentations throughout Massachusetts just to promote our mission, is to help educate all of our consumers to make better decisions. And it could be anything with, unfortunately, identity theft or shopping rights online or how to spot credit card skimmers. We give lots of presentations about home improvement contractors and the ins and outs on doing home improvement in the state of Massachusetts, as well as running programs for having to deal with the lemon law rights for Massachusetts as well. So we do quite a lot in our office, and I did bring some information, some literature, so you don't necessarily have to take notes. There's lots here. I also did leave a magnet because our office actually has a hotline that's run Monday through Friday, and you can get a specialist to talk to you. It's not actually a computer. You don't have to press 1, press 5, press 6. The first ring you will actually get a human being to talk to, and you can call with a complaint, you can call with a question, you name it. We get a lot of complaints and questions and Monday through Friday, and it runs the gamut, but it's really nice to have. And if we can't answer questions for you, we'll find the answer for you, whether we have to get you to, say, the Attorney General's office, or et cetera. So it's a really great thing for everybody to have here in Massachusetts. The Office of Consumer Affairs and Business Regulation, we have an umbrella. So basically, these are the agencies that are underneath us. So if you ever have an issue with a large bank, insurance, professional licensure, the telecommunications and cable or standards, the Division of Standards, they are under our umbrella. So if you call us and say, hey, I thought I got a gallon of gas, and I don't think I really got a gallon of gas, and I want to complain about it, we'll put you over to the Division of Standards. They're the men and women who go out throughout the state and regulate that and make sure everything is on the up and up. And then the same thing goes with professional licensure. If you're going to go get a manicure, make sure that your manicurist has a license. So it's really a great thing to have. So if you ever have issues with any of these, whether it's a bank, licensure, anything, you can call us and we will make sure that you have the right person to talk to. And as I mentioned, this is our phone number that's run Monday through Friday. You don't necessarily have to take it down. I do have in the packets on the very back, as well as the magnet. It's just a good thing to have. This is one of our consumer programs that we are running. It has to deal with the lemon law issue. So if you buy a car in Massachusetts, if you lease one, you can call us and we can help you deal with the lemon law and how to get around it. Or I'm sorry, around the problem, not around the law. And we also have programs regarding the home improvement contractor program. So if you're going to be doing any contracting in the state of Massachusetts, you should make sure that your contractor is licensed and is actually registered with the state through our office. So today we're going to talk about identity theft and fraud, because unfortunately it's always in the news and you can't not hear about it. No matter who you are, whether it's a child, it's a veteran, it's an older person, it doesn't matter what age you are. Identity theft is out there, unfortunately. We were talking earlier, has anybody heard any interesting scams? Amy had asked me if I could do some little bit of research on specific veteran scams. And I did do a lot of research. And the thing that I found out about the veteran scams is a lot of them they're either email phishing schemes, so they'll email you and say, oh, well, they'll find out that you are Marine, specifically, say, oh, there's a new loan for Marines, and we want to help you if you want to buy a house. And you think, oh gosh, I was sort of thinking about a house, or maybe buying a condo or buying a car. This could be interesting, but what happens is it's really not a great deal, or it is a complete scam. If the email comes through, if you hover your mouse over the address, if it's really a reputable bank or Visa or MasterCard or whomever, the whole email address will pop up and say, so it is legitimate. But if you do get something like that, or a phone call, a lot of people are getting phone calls. It's best to go online if you really think that you're going to get a good deal on a loan or something else that someone has called you about. Go online and do a little bit of research. You can always call the Attorney General's office to see if there's any complaints. You can call the Better Business Bureau. But with the phishing scams that I have done a little bit of research on, it's just that's sort of one of the number one things for veterans in regard to scams is the financial scams. Because I'm not really sure why it is specifically the number one scam, but it's out there. I actually got the scam email last night, and I'm not even a veteran. They just said, hey, we recognize you as a Navy vet, and there's a new wonderful whatever. Do you want to get this loan? And I thought, well, that's very nice, but I'm not even a veteran and I'm not in the Navy. So how did they get my email? It's a robo, like the robocalls. They want to make sure they'll send an email to anybody. And if you really are a vet, well, they've hit gold. Fantastic. Maybe that person will actually answer. What I have found, though, is if at the very bottom of the email they say, click here to unsubscribe if you don't want to receive anymore, and the same thing with the phone, it's really not worth clicking unsubscribe, because now you're telling the robo computer that someone's actually reading that email. There is a human person behind that. It's best to just either throw it out altogether, delete it, or put it in your spam box. Because they're going to just keep sending you emails. Oh, well, someone answered, let's set up another one. Maybe they'll respond to the next one. If they weren't in the Navy, maybe they're in the Marines. Maybe it doesn't really matter. They will keep doing it. Yes?
So are you saying then that when you unsubscribe to something, whatever it is, and you get a confirmation you have been unsubscribed, it'll take 7 to 10 days. This does not exist, you have not been unsubscribed?
Sometimes you have and sometimes you have not. From the research that I have done, if it's really a scammy site, whereas it's one thing if it's a scammy site or it's a bank.
Usually ads.
Usually ads. What you're doing is telling the computer that found you that there's someone really reading that email. Of the research that I've done, it's not worth doing the unsubscribe.
So you have not been unsubscribed. That means nothing.
I can't guarantee that you have or you have not, but you might get more emails from them or somebody else.
Thank you.
Sure. Yes.
I know that National Public Radio NPR did a story featuring a scam that's happening from people pretending to be from the IRS. You may have heard this.
I got it. I got the call.
So did I.
Very aggressive.
It's not aggressive, it's obnoxious. They are mean, they're rude, they'll swear at you. They will tell you that the National Guard's coming out to get you, or a Marine. I mean, they will scare the pants off of you. And then they will try. Then they'll tell you that the local police is coming to get you, because I did actually get the call, and I decided to call them from work. And I wanted to see what the spiel was and how it ran out. The gentleman did not speak very well. His English was terrible, and he spoke very quickly. And he said, you owe a lot of money. The police are coming after you. And I'm like, okay, take a deep breath. Okay, which local police are coming after me? I knew he didn't know what town he was calling from. So she's like, well, yours. And if they don't come, the state police. And then he got really angry, and then he started swearing at me. So I did report his name, whoever his name was, and his phone number to the IRS and to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, and the Attorney General. I don't know if it's going to be incredibly helpful to report it, because probably they'll close the number down anyways. But when you get, that's the first kind. Those are the red flags. If someone's calling you and threatening you, and they're speaking quickly, they're trying to freak you out, they're telling you the police are coming, they're telling you that you owe lots of money, you really need to kind of take a step back and go, okay, wait a minute. I did pay my taxes. Maybe I should just call my accountant. Maybe I should actually call the IRS directly. I mean, if you owe the IRS money, they'll send you a registered letter. They're not going to have someone call you and threaten you and swear at you and tell you the police are coming. But unfortunately, those calls go out all the time. And you got it, I got it, and it doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, and so it's pretty simple. They try to scare you into action.
Yes.
And so you talked about the fact that you want to delete and unsubscribe.
Subscribe.
No.
Really?
No. Just delete it, delete it again, and you're done. If somebody else decides to pick up on that particular, this is me now. So
Yep.
please critique what I'm saying.
Totally agree.
If another person sends you another email on another topic or whatever, it's probably part of the same office. Doesn't matter, you just say thank you very much, delete, and we're done for that particular email each time. And the reason you don't want to unsubscribe is because now they have your email address and they'll come after you in a different, more sophisticated way.
Exactly.
That's just what I think. That doesn't mean I'm right, but that's the way Ron thinks. I'm Ron Dyer.
I'm sorry?
My name is Ron Dyer, and that's the way I think.
Thank you.
Well, you're right on the money. As soon as you click on something or try to say, unsubscribe, the computer knows, somebody in the office knows that I'm reading the email. Well, let's send her something else. And a lot of the times the scammy emails, I'm going to use Visa as an example. I don't have any problem with Visa. It's just an example. If you get an email or a phone call from let's just say your Visa, MasterCard, your card, and it said, we need to update or verify your information. Could you click here so we can make sure we have your right Social Security number? Absolutely not. Do not click on it. Don't answer if you've answered the phone call, hang up. What you should do is pull out your credit card, or the Visa or the MasterCard or whatever it may be, and call the number on the back of the card. That's the actual legitimate number. And you can call them and say, hey, it's Robin Putnam, and I'm just calling. I did get this weird call or email, and do you need to verify your information? Well, I don't know why your Social Security number would change. And your bank routing number shouldn't have changed, but maybe if it did, they will let you know. Thank you so much for calling. No, we're fine. But they will want you to report. Can you give us what time they called? Did they give a name? Was there a phone number they gave? Or if it's an email, my credit card asked me to forward the scammy email to their fraud department. That's just the first easy way to get in, because people go, oh, they have to verify my information? Like, why? What happened? What's going on? 9 times out of 10. I mean, another one that's been going around is senior centers. Someone will call up and say that they're the person who runs the senior center, and they want to make sure we have your information. The senior center does not need to have your Social Security number or your bank routing number or any of that. So you should call whomever is the real person and say, is this information, do you need it? Have I been, a lot of times if it really is your Visa or your MasterCard, they're going to call you directly and say, hey, there's been a breach in your account, please call us back. And if you get that call the number on the back of your credit card, because point blank that that's going to be the actual real number. So I just kind of already mentioned this. So some of the ways to kind of tell it's a scam, they'll either be nice or they'll be rude. They'll try to freak you out. They'll tell you the police are coming for you. And it's just they need an immediate response right now, whether it's the grandparent scheme, your child is somewhere else in Europe and you need to pay for the police department to get them out. It runs the gamut, but they're immediate. They speak very strongly and they want you to react very quickly. A lot of ways they also say if it's going to be a scam is if saying how to pay for something, whether it's the IRS, you can pay us with the Green Dot card or Apple Pay. I just saw another scam. Someone said they got the IRS call, but this time instead of using a Green Dot card to pay, they said, you can pay us in iTunes. Well, if you owe $10,000 to the IRS, I can't imagine they're going to want $10,000 in iTunes. And I read the scam alert, and I thought, no, this is a joke, right? But it wasn't a joke. They wanted to be paid in iTunes and some other weird, sort of shopping, like, I don't know, Amazon or whatever it was. But immediately when I read the iTunes, I thought, oh, okay, yikes. But if you don't hear about them, that's why I kind of give this presentation. So if you get someone calling you saying you can pay in iTunes, kind of laugh at it, but you go, oh, geez. So preventing this, what do you do to prevent this? You have to be skeptical. If it sounds too good to be true, it really and truly is. If you get a call saying that you won the Lottery of Ireland, guess what? You can't win the Lottery of Ireland. You're not an Irish citizen. You're a U.S. citizen. You're not allowed to win those. If someone says that you won, I don't know, the Powerball of some state that you don't even live in, and if you send them $10,000, they'll send you $100. Again, if you win a lottery, a legitimate lottery, the IRS will take that money out first before you even see your first winnings. So if it sounds too good to be true, it really and truly is. So I always tell people, please don't give your Social Security number out. Don't ever. It's just the easiest identifier for you, and it can cause so many problems. A lot of people do. They'll ask you for the last 4 digits. Great, that's not a big deal. That's probably safer. But just if someone's calling you to ask to verify all of this information, you really need to take a step back and think, all right, is this real? Why are they calling me about this? And especially if it's, say, your Visa, your MasterCard, call that number specifically on the back of your card. Or if it's your bank, someone posing as your bank, Bank of America, Rockland Trust, or whatever, find the right number. Go online and Google the right number or the right number in the back of your ATM card and just give them a call. They want to hear from you. They want to know what's going on too, because they don't want fraud to happen. These are kind of little things. You should always be checking all of your accounts. This is the one time that most people kind of balk at. You should be checking your accounts at least once to 2 times, 3 times a month. Going online if you do online banking, or go check your Visa, MasterCard, any credit cards that you use on a regular basis, your Macy's card, your Sears card, it'll take you 1.5 minutes to zip through it. But if you know that you haven't used that card specifically in the last couple of months and something pops up, it happened to my mom, and I was just telling this earlier, it happened to her Friday night. She hadn't used this one credit card in 3 months, and she got a call at midnight from her Visa. Someone had lifted her number, we have no idea where, and within 3 hours, they had charged $4,000 or $5,000. All online, so someone lifted the number, and they went to bestbuy.com, they went to Amazon, they went to Macy's in minutes. And if you're not checking your accounts, it's such a boring read, I know, but if you do it every couple of weeks, you'll see a red flag. Yes, did you have a question?
Are you talking about accounts that let's say I pay my MasterCard online. You're talking about checking because I pay it online instead of writing a check.
Nope. I'm not saying because one way or the other. You should be checking it even if you don't use online banking. If someone gets the 16-digit number off of your ATM card, or it doesn't matter if you don't use online shopping, because you should be able to go online. Or you can actually when you get your statements every month, go through it line by line. And if something looks out of the ordinary, you'll know. For example, I talked to a gentleman who, I don't remember which town he lives in, but they don't have CVS in his town. He only uses Brooks Pharmacy. Someone lifted his card, and he didn't realize, and there was a $3 test run at CVS. Well, not a lot of us would recognize a $3 whatever at a store, small pharmacy. But if you never use CVS, because he doesn't, he only used Brooks Pharmacy, immediately he was like, whoa, that's not normal. Well, he caught it, and he got a new number, and the bank got him a new credit card. But a thief will do a test run, because if you're not watching, $3 here, $3 there, and then all of a sudden they are going to go to Best Buy. They are going to go to Macy's and run up the bill. You are, in the state of Massachusetts, there is a $50 fraud liability for credit cards, your ATM, and large banks. So if per se your card gets lifted, or your credit card or debit card, you're only liable for $50. A lot of banks and a lot of credit cards, you should check your own, what their policy is, have done away with it, so there's a zero fraud liability. But if something happens and you catch it fast, they want to know. They want to put a stop to it so nothing happens further, so that it doesn't take you forever to clear your name. Yes?
The third circle talks about secure personal information, and the first word there is computer. So the question I have is in regards to people like Comcast and those organizations where you might have an account that takes care of internet, telephone, and cable, all at the same charge. What about the security through them?
Are you asking if they sometimes get hacked? Is that?
Yes.
So yes, if they get breached, they have to let you know that something happened. That you will get something in the mail saying, this is Comcast, or it's your Visa, or what have you. They would have to let you know. Actually, the breaches actually also come through our office. So we hear about all the data breaches as well. Does that sort of answer your question?
So if I have them as my internet provider, what about their security?
What kind of security do they have? I'm not sure.
Well, not necessarily what kind, but in terms of your office, have you heard of any problems with their technical security?
I have not heard of anything as of late,
Okay.
but that doesn't mean there isn't someone a hacker somewhere looking still to try to get into their system. I just don't know. I haven't heard anything specific myself.
Well, I was thinking a la the Target situation.
Oh, correct. No, in that grand scheme of things,
not necessarily with a credit card,
sure.
but in this particular case,
Yeah.
protecting the internet with
I haven't heard of any major scams coming through them or data breaches, but that could change in an hour. So I haven't heard anything, but hopefully, knock on wood, there aren't going to be any problems. I really hope so. And sort of the other one is unsolicited offers. Yes?
What happened, like, when I moved to this area, and then a lot of my old credit card that was for previously, but I never bothered to cancel out. They like called CBS and all the credit card.
Are you talking about like membership cards or like a full-on credit card?
Full credit card, like an in-store credit card.
Oh, in-store credit cards, yeah.
So what should I do? Should I?
You should if you've moved, you should definitely contact all of your, whether it's an in-store credit card, a regular credit card,
But I'm not using for like the last couple of years. Should I just cancel out, or?
I would call them and let them know, and you should check online, because who knows if something ever occurred. I would definitely, if it's a credit card or an in-store card from another state, it just depends if you want to keep it open. That's a personal decision, but I would definitely let them know.
So I
Sure.
didn't even know, to bother to check
Yep.
online, because I didn't even charge.
So-
I should.
That's why I always suggest you should always be checking your accounts, because if you've moved and you haven't used the card in a while, it happened to me. I had one card in case for emergencies, and I didn't think to check, and there was a $30 charge for something silly, and I was luckily caught it. But I would say yes, you should call and verify and talk to them.
Not just cutting off.
No, because cutting up the card is not closing the account. The account's still going to be open. So it's definitely, I would call whatever the card is and let them know. Did you?
Actually, I heard people say if you close the account and then you open somehow affect your credit
Well, that's what I was just going to say. We had a
Yeah.
session just last week
Yeah.
on personal budgeting, and this topic came up, and I've learned some things along the way too, sitting in on these seminars.
Is
And
it affecting your credit score?
yeah, that
Mhm.
financial
Yeah.
planner and expert, his advice was if you have credit cards that are open that you don't use and have no intent to use,
Yeah.
that you should close them, because an inactive account will negatively affect your credit score. I'm not I'm just relaying what I learned just last week. Yeah.
So in regards to checking your credit score, I highly suggest everybody once a year going to annualcreditreport.com. It's the only free government-sanctioned website to go to actually check all three. So go on January 1st and check the first one. It's a really boring read, I assure you. It'll take you 5 minutes, but you will, if something's wrong, your name is misspelled, you're not married, your date of birth is incorrect, your address, credit cards that are opened or closed. You want to read through all of those things in case your number was lifted somewhere else, you never know, and someone's opened up a line of credit in your name somewhere else. If there's no red flags, you're perfectly fine, great. And then in 4 months, go back online to annualcreditreport.com and check the second one, and do the same thing, and in 4 months, check the last one. And if throughout the entire year there are no red flags, then there's no big deal. But it's not going to affect your credit score to go online to check it, all three at separate times, and you can do it for free throughout the year. So it's just a great way to kind of keep tabs on yourself. Yes?
I'm hearing other people talk about karma.
Credit Karma. Sure. I know it's not free. I don't know a lot about Credit Karma. I just know it's not it is not sanctioned by the government.
I see a lot of, and I never even open them, but I see a lot of emails that come through and says, oh, by the way, get your 3 credit scores from all 3 agencies for free now. I never open them. Sure. Because it's not solicited. Correct.
A lot of the ones that say they're free, you really actually have to give your credit card to get your credit score. You actually have to pay.
Got it.
So, to the best of my knowledge, the only free one is annualcreditreport.com. And they will, if you go do it, I just did it, they're going to ask you your full Social Security. They're going to ask you all the identifying questions, and it is a little nerve-wracking and kind of weird, and they're going to ask you this, that, and the other, but they have to ask those to make sure it's really you. You can either call or you can do it online, and they can either, you can either print it or they can send it to you. But it's just a really great way to keep track of what's going on with your credit, because you never know, unfortunately, if someone's ever lifted your credit card number or a debit or whatever, and that will pop up. And if you do see something, then you should call, if it's Experian, let's just say, you should call them and say, hey, there's something wrong here. Why is there a mortgage in my name in Utah? You need to clear those things up. Because you'll know where you've been and you know where you're shopped, so you should know what's going on in your own line of credit. So we've kind of really talked about this. I don't always go through all the slides per se, but just monitor your accounts. That's the strongest thing you could always do, is monitor your accounts. I can't stress it enough. A lot of people don't like to do it, but if you do it, it's just, you'll see your own red flags. You know where you shop. You know what lines of credit you should or don't have open. And if something does occur, if you do think that you've been a victim of identity theft, you should try to create a paper trail for yourself. Go to the police department and fill out a police report, get a copy of the police report. You can put a fraud alert or a security freeze on your credit score until everything has kind of been mulled over. You can then, if you have a paper trail, say, for example, like through the FTC or through the police department, you can then fax that to the crediting agencies and say, hey, yes, this is me, there is a fraud, there is something going on, I want to put a freeze on my account so nothing can happen to my credit. It's a quick way to really get things kind of stopped. And if you create the paper trail, it's going to be it'll help you out in the long run. Notify your banks, notify your credit cards, anybody you've got a credit card open with. It doesn't matter if it's a Macy's card or a Sears. If they've gotten into one, there's a possibility they could get into others. So if you call your Sears card, for example, and say, hey, there's a breach here, is my account okay? Do I need to put a freeze? What should I do? They'll walk you through what their process is. But it's just, you should always notify everybody and create the trail. When you make phone calls, just write it down. Hey, I talked to Sarah at Sears at 3:30 on a Friday night or Friday afternoon, and she said my account was fine. Create the paper trail so that if it'll help you in the long run if there really are major problems. And close any accounts. You may not have to close them, but you may want to close them. If it's with your bank, ask them what their policy is. If they don't think that you need to close it, or they might just give you a brand new bank number or a routing number, it all depends. Every bank is going to be a little bit different. But as long as you talk to them immediately, they want to know if there's a fraud going on in your life. And these are the 3 credit reporting agencies. Just for your own information. So you can always just go to annualcreditreport.com and they'll run you through everything that you need to know and how to actually fill out the report. If you have questions, they can answer questions for you. And that's my presentation. Can I answer questions for anybody?
Just a statistic that you might be interested in, Desi, that Robin was mentioning earlier, that kids under the age of 12, 51%?
So I've been doing a little bit of research on identity theft for children, because who would think of a child having their identity stolen? Children are 51 times more likely to have their social security number stolen. Sometimes it could be a family member, whether someone opens up a credit card in their name, or they'll put the utility bills in a child's name, and a lot of parents wouldn't think to even go online or even call to have their child's social security number run, just make sure their credit is okay. It's not until, let's just say they need financial aid, and then they go, okay, we're going to run the child's number, and there are 6 credit cards under their name, or there's a utility, or what have you. You can't put in Massachusetts, from what I understand, you can't put a freeze on their social security number, their credit, but you can call, the parent can call or actually fax something into the 3 crediting agencies. They all have slightly different requirements. You have to actually prove that you're the parent. There are a lot of different requirements, but you can check. And I think after reading the different things that are going on with children, it would be a good idea just to check your child's credit, because you never know, you don't really know if anybody has had any access to your child's information. Yes?
Could you back that up?
Of course. So yes, that's sort of a newer twist to all of this awfulness is children, because they're just getting really hammered. It's pretty scary. But you think, oh, it's your parents, or it might be.
You have to, when I sign my kids up for, activities, specifically if it's like a sports program
Sure.
or whatever, there are occasions where you have to put in their social.
Right. You do.
So that's out of your hands at that point.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'll be checking.
It's just a good way. I know we all sound paranoid, but it's just a good way to keep tabs and to make sure that nothing's happening, because you just don't. What if you get to age 18 and your son or daughter wants to go to college, and that child might need a little extra help and need financial aid. If their credit is completely screwed up, if there are any problems, it might be problematic for them.
Has the college ever run into that before?
Not that I know of, but raised the issue with financial aid. Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Right.
Well, like you said too, you have a lot of these companies out there, businesses where they're predatory.
Yep.
They go out, they go after certain demographics. It could be, say, veterans, for example.
Sure.
And one of the things, being on the military base and say getting off the base, one of the big things was the car dealerships.
Oh.
And they're very aggressive.
Yes.
You can pay up to 25, 30% interest rates on these, to where you should be paying $200 for
Yeah.
a vehicle, and you're paying $500, and you're paying them in 3-4 years. What are the laws for those tactics? Because they seem so on the base, especially around the bases. It's all
Sure.
around the bases. They're everywhere. Are there laws? Are they legally operating because of their aggressive tactics and those predatory tactics? And
Sure.
are they in a legal
I
aspect?
I don't know which laws or if they are breaking laws. I know that from doing the research regarding the vets or even current military, they do get a lot of, it's a great military deal for your wife or you specifically. I do know that you, after doing the reading, you really need to look through all the fine print, because as you mentioned, they might say, oh, we'll give you 10% off of the vehicle, but your tax or this is going to be jacked up tremendously. And I think a lot of times they are preying on you because they're thinking, well, he's going to be shipped off soon for 9 months and he's not going to be checking his bills and he's not going to care. And that was one thing that I got out of it. They prey on the current military because they're in, they're out, they're going here, they're going there, and it's horrendous.
And they're young.
And they're young, and they're not home for a very long time. Exactly.
Away from home, and that's
It's their first car, or it's this, and they think, oh my gosh, I'm getting a 10% deal because I'm a military person. You just really have to look at all the fine print. That's the tough thing. And who reads the fine print on anything? It's pretty tough. Oh, you do.
I do, yes, unfortunately.
No, but I think it's.
I've even been someplace and they go, just sign it, you know? And I go, no, wait till I finish reading.
I did the same thing because I just got a car, and it took me a long time because I wanted to go through all of the paperwork because I just didn't really want to get stopped up on something.
Well, you know, I went to, when I went to go buy my car, I stopped at a dealership and I wanted to test drive the car. So they need a copy of your license, you know, because you're leaving with them. They want to make sure, you know, you bring the person back.
Sure.
And I watched this lady, and she walked from here all the way across the room, made a copy of my license, and then she turned around and went into this other room. And she came back, and I'm going, oh, somebody must have called her to ask her a question. Then it dawned on me while I was driving the car, and I came back and I said, can I have a copy of my license? And she goes, oh, why? I'll throw it out. And I go, no, because you just ruined my credit report, because you had whoever's in that room run my credit, and now I have a credit mark on my credit score. And her face dropped a mile. I said, I don't think I'll be back here. And I took all the paperwork that she had with my name and everything else, and I ripped it up right in front of her. And her chin was sitting on the desk. She didn't think I noticed. And I said,
yes.
So
Question.
very simple. I used to sell Mercedes. So the very simple thing that I did, since I'm also former military, since I'm also the commander of the Disabled American Veterans Chapter, there's a bunch of stuff I do. Every single thing that you want to do is what we're going to do. And that is the difference. So if people say to you, I have to take a copy of your license to do the test drive, the answer is yeah. However, you're going to watch me. I said, come with me. You're going to watch me make the copy. Then I'm going to hand the license back to you. I only have one copy. At the end, if you ask for it back, it goes back to you. Okay? And so my thought always was, if I give you the information, you're going to make an informed decision as to whether it's right for you or the family. If they don't do it that way, it's pretty simple. Everything is for them, not for you.
mm-hmm.
So that's what the difference is, and you were wise enough to catch that. Good for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, my niece also got a phone call from this person that said, oh, you owe so much money on this account, on this bill, and it's been outstanding. So she was in a dilemma. She calls me up, crying her eyes out, saying, Auntie, this is what happened, right? So I go, okay, give me the number that they called you on. So I called up the people. Of course, they had a slight accent, and I went, this doesn't sound right. But anyways, I said, okay. So I'm sitting at my computer. I hang up with them, and I put the number in, and I went, oh, this is a scam. Because it had all these things against this number, right? So I called her back, and I said, if they call you, tell them no. I says, it's a scam. Because she was so wound up from them, because they said that they were yelling at her and everything else. So I said, tell them that your aunt will give the money the next day. So they called the first thing in the morning. Your aunt hasn't called us yet. We don't have the money. Then what scared me was they go, we're at the Walgreens down the street from you. And I went, they said that? And she goes, yeah, and they also told me that they were gonna come to my door if the money wasn't in their hands within the next half hour. Now, she does have a Walgreens down the street from her, it's around the corner. So I don't know if they were just guessing that there was a Walgreens there or what. She stayed in the house and she put a chair up against the door and she locked her doors,
Just tell them.
everything.
Bring the police when you come.
I did. I said to her, call the police and tell them that this is what's happening and you're afraid. So, but nobody ever showed up. But it was scary. I mean, I'm at work and she's bundle of nerves. And that's what they did to her. Like you were saying, you know, they keep pounding you and pounding you.
Yes.
Are there any special scams that you have run through or are currently in vogue against military and/or military organizations, not necessarily currently active military on duty, but those of us who have
Sure.
served?
The number one thing that I saw, it wasn't anything really specific to one specific branch. It was more someone posing as a charity to say, I'm calling on behalf of the Marines and we're doing this charity run for cars. And it really wasn't that you could donate your car. And the money actually never went to the Marines. So that was one that I saw specifically, and I just thought, so someone's trying to do the right thing because they were thinking about donating their car anyways, but it never really went to the Marines, or I honestly don't know which branch it was. A lot of the scams I was just looking up, some of them were debt collection calls, because again, if you're not home all the time and you're just coming back from a deployment and you get a call or an email that says you owe us $5,000, $10,000, where it's now going to affect your credit, that's where the sort of the scams are. It's the debt collectors calling, and you have to take a step back and say, do I even have an account with whatever the bank is? Is that something that I've opened? Did my spouse open this? Maybe instead of reacting just like that and calling them, maybe call and talk to your spouse. If you're not married, that's okay too. Just take a step back, and when you get home, look at all your accounts. Do you have that account open? If it really is you specifically, then call the number that's on all of your paperwork. Don't call, I don't think you should call the number that people, the unsolicited calls, the unsolicited weird emails that come through. And it's usually the finances, because that's where people get hit the most, is your finances. Who doesn't automatically, their stomach drops going, I owe money? How much money do I owe? I owe $10,000? What? And it doesn't matter if you're military or not. If you get that call, you're immediately going to take that step and go, oh, do I really have an account open? I don't remember having that account. Why? How is it could be overdrawn? How could it be in collections? So unfortunately with the military, if you are still serving and you're not home and you get that call or a weird email, of course you're going to think, you're going to panic a little, because if you're not home to check accounts, you can't make a quick phone call. It will make you panic. So if let's just say it's a fishy sounding weird email saying you owe lots of money, go online, and the best thing too is Google that email address or the phone number, because as you mentioned, if it's a scam, a million other people will have reported online onto Google. And I've gotten a ton of emails, weird emails, and I'll put the email address, and immediately everything that pops up, it's a scam, don't respond. It's a scam, it's a scam. And the same thing with phone numbers. So if it's a phone number that I don't recognize, a lot of times I don't even answer the phone. But if it's specifically you're owing money and it's a weird email, put the email address first. And if it's really an account that you do have open, find the correct email, find the correct phone number, and give them a call. Contact them directly and say, hey, this is so-and-so, and is there a problem with my account? Then they're going to be, then you can talk to them, the actual bank that you know you have an account with. Because unfortunately, if you're not home a lot and you get that call or that email, it's like, what? You have to not react quickly, which a lot of us do. We react. We're always in a hurry. We're always trying to do this. We're not paying attention. We want to get into the gas station, out of the gas station, into the ATM. Respond to an email that says, you owe us $10,000. Well, if you get something like that, you've got to take an extra 2 seconds and think about it first, and really think, well, do I really have that account? Does that even make sense? If it doesn't make sense to you, then you'll be a little bit better. better off, I should say. But that was kind of the number one thing that I found with the military is the debt collectors, the false debt collectors coming after people, either with fishy phone calls or phishing email schemes. Yes?
Visa and MasterCard.
Yeah.
And this is just a question I always had, and I read it somewhere one time. But if you give your Visa, and some people still ask to see your ID with it, regardless if you sign it or not. Is there a law or something that if you have maybe it's with other cards though, but also with the Visa or the MasterCard, you're not required to show your ID, even if they ask, because of what you're talking about right there is somebody can just look right at your ID and that they know what they're looking for,
right.
Address, certain numbers on there right away that they can get it.
Right.
Within that 3 to 5 seconds that they're looking at that, when they're looking at your card, they're scanning that information that they want.
I don't believe there is a law that says they have to.
Okay.
In the state of Massachusetts. I'm not 100%, so I'd have to actually look that up. I do know that most people that I talk to no longer sign their card. They just say CID just to verify that it really is you, so that if I have been a scammy person and stole your number and made a fake card in your name, they're going to obviously know that A, I'm not a man, or 6'4", but I don't believe it's a law that they have to, but I will check on it.
It's a catch-22 situation.
It is a catch-22.
You give your ID, which gives you more security, but then at the same token, they can get it.
Yeah, well, you could always use your thumb to cover your actual address.
Yeah.
So here's what I do.
Yes. Uh-oh. What do you do?
This is the only thing they ever see. Ever. You want my license? No. This is all I have to show you because it's the only thing that says I only need one set of criteria to prove who I am. If I have to provide a license, then they may ask me for a second set to confirm that.
Would that one have your social on it? Doesn't that have your social
No.
on it? The passport doesn't?
No.
Okay. It
So
says the passport.
it has my birthplace,
Yeah.
which is a couple of states away and several hundred miles away.
Yeah.
But that's all they ever see. And by the way, yes, I carry it with me 24/7. So for me, that's all I ever show. Now, by the way, what I'm asking you to do is critique that.
Honestly,
Yes.
I wouldn't carry my passport ever. I don't like carrying my passport
To the airport.
to the airport. I just don't personally like it.
When I travel,
Okay.
I had to have it in my business
Sure.
all the time anyhow, because I'm flying. Oh, by the way, Ryan, we want you to fly to XYZ. Okay, fine. I don't have to worry about it. I just go there and the ticket's there and here's who I am and we're done.
Sure.
So I just got in the habit of carrying it with me. After I left the military, I said, okay, I don't have to show my driver's license unless, of course, I'm going to rent a car. Then I really do need to show them, oh yeah, I'm capable of driving a car.
Yes. I think it's personal. If you don't have a problem with carrying your passport around, and because you travel so much, then that makes sense to you.
But I've got in the habit, and if you haven't noticed, I'm a little older. So as a result of that, it's a habit that I have, and that it's the only thing I ever show.
And that's
Including
fine.
when I go see a bank and a new bank teller, that's all they ever see.
Sure. And that's fine. I personally, I don't carry my passport around, and I don't really feel comfortable carrying it around 24/7. But that's what I mean. It's just personal.
But that's why I asked you to critique it.
Personally, no, I wouldn't do it. But I don't travel out of the country where I'm going to need it. It's just always in a safe place for myself. Can I answer any more questions for anybody? No?
So are there any, so you have Heidrea for Heroes.
Yes, sir.
There are other organizations such as outreach centers that service only veterans and are participating and only have veteran members. And then there's the VFW and the American Veterans and the Disabled American Veterans, et cetera. So all of us are participating from a military standpoint. Are there any other scams that are aimed specifically at those kinds of organizations?
Just military or veterans? It's really the main thing is the debt collections.
Okay.
It's a financial one, because if you're not paying attention, and we all get nervous, as I said before, it's the debt collectors coming out. That's the one thing I would. But I think when you're dealing with scams, and if something sounds too good to be true, if it looks weird, you know, well, they all do. They all look weird, and you know, if you hover your mouse over an email address, the whole email address will pop up. So let's just say I got an email the other day. I have a Visa, and it said fraud at Visa. I'm like, ugh. All right, they're contacting me because there's something going on with my Visa. But I decided, I'm like, all right, don't react. So I put my mouse over the actual email address, and it was fraud at Visa, spelled incorrectly, V-I-Z-A. I was like, okay, dot D-U, or D-E, for Germany. I'm like, oh, they don't use a Hotmail account in Germany for my Visa account. And they didn't spell Visa correctly, but what a lot of these phishing things are, the phishing emails, is there's one letter that's a little off. And if we all read something too quickly, it's like, oh, is that how she really spells her name? No, she doesn't spell her name R-O-I-B-N. But if you're tired and reading something really quickly, you just, boom, you won't think about it. That's why if you open up an email and it sounds a little weird, it sounds fishy, they're looking for you to verify information, update your accounts. Look at the email address first.
I think like you said though too, if anything, if it really is a legit thing, you're gonna get something in the mail.
Yep.
9 times out of 10. So it just,
Or just call the bank directly.
just delete
Yes.
until you get something in the mail. And it's usually, if it's really important,
Yes.
it's
Well, the
yellow,
IRS is
it's
only
yellow or pink.
Exactly.
And the IRS is only going to do business with you by mail.
From what I understand, they may start calling, but for right now, they're not. They're not. They're going to send you something registered. They're not going to say, ask you to pay $10,000 in back taxes in iTunes. And we can kind of joke and laugh about that, but it's kind of a new weird fraud that I just was reading about online. I thought, oh, that's stupid, but some people will fall for it. And it's unfortunate, and it happens.